I will say a few headlines, and I want you to let your mind recall these headlines. The beginning of the Holy Land. The first Sunday of the Holy Land, the Treasure Sunday, the Sunday of temptation. The prodigal son, the Samaritan woman, the paralytic man by the pool, the born blind man. Palm Sunday, the Holy Week. I'm sure every headline of those bring its own images in our brain, bring its own memories, make something light in our brains. Each one of those headlines we can relate to in a certain way. All this long journey is to bring us to this week, prepare us for this week. We've been working on ourselves for the last almost, 50 days, roughly, for this week. And we are in a spiritual status that is good, that is sensitive. Our ears and our eyes are open so we can receive. This is a good achievement. This is a good thing. And I will tell you at the end of the word why I said that, why did I start with this introduction. Just want you to reflect on how much time and prayers and effort you invested in yourselves during the Holy Lent to prepare yourself for the Holy Week. And what are we doing during the Holy Week? I went over the readings today for the hours of the morning and the hours at night, and there are many Gospels that the church read for us today. But I was stopped by one of them where we read from St. Matthew, the parable of the virgins. We just heard the exposition for it a minute ago, the wise virgin and the foolish ones. And in the same chapter of St. Matthew, we also read the parable of the talents. So I'll briefly cover the parable of the talents and then give an idea about the foolish and the wise virgins. One master, 3 different servants, a few talents, and 2 different approaches. The master handed the talents to the servants and asked them to watch for the talent. He just handed them the talent. It was obvious what's his intention by giving them the talent. He gave them these talents for a reason. 2 of them understood that. And they worked on the talents, they traded with them, and they gained. They profited. They used the talents their master gave them, and they gained. They gained more talents. The third one had a different approach. He looked at the talent and was afraid to touch it. Not really afraid. He was lazy to touch it. He didn't want to take the responsibility of handling that talent. So he simply dug a hole in the ground and threw the talent in there and waited, just ignored completely the talent that he was given until his master came back and he asked for everyone's talent. So he thought he would be justified by giving back the same talent he took, right? You give me 1 talent, there is your talent back, we're even. No, we're not even. Why we're not even? The intention by giving you the talent in the first place was never to hide it, was never to dig a hole in the ground and put it to death. This is not the intention. He didn't even care for what the other servants do with their talents. They traded, they won. The one that got 5 talents, he won another 5, and the one who got the 2 talents, he won another 2. He gained another 2 talents. He didn't think of that. Maybe if he was looking and following and noticing what's going on around him, he would have quickly went to the ground and took his talent out of the hole and traded with it, right? But he didn't. I don't know what his approach was. I think it was laziness. He was lazy. Lazy and lenient with himself. كسلان ومتساهل. You will find this parable in the Gospel of St. Matthew in chapter 25. I urge you when you go back home today to read it slowly and get your own meaning out of it. Matthew 25. Read the whole chapter. What are the talents? What are the talents? The talents are everything good that God planted in us. And please don't ask me, Abuna, I don't know my talent. We should know our talents by now. We should. We don't know? Expose yourself to Matthew 5. Matthew 5. Read Matthew 5, the Beatitudes, and you will find your talents. And by the way, Matthew 5 might seem to be a vague thing or a vague chapter, but once you open and you read the Beatitudes, you will realize that this is the gospel that we read in every hour of the 6th hour of the Agbeya. Blessed are those. Tuba lirrahama la'annahum yarhamun. Blessed are those. Or blessed are the poor in the spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You don't know your talent? Read. You will find yourself in one of those categories. This is just an easy way to shine in front of us. Where should we go? What should we do with our talents? That one servant who dug a hole in the ground, he was a little lazy, maybe. But the problem is, it never stops at one sin. One sin brings the other. Look at the other 2 servants and the talents they have. We'll consider them virtues, and each virtue bring another. If you are patient, you will learn how to be humble. If you are a humble person, you will learn how to submit. If you know how to submit, you will know how to hear God's voice. If you know how to hear God's voice, you will have peace. See, one virtue brought a lot. Let's take the opposite side of it. The one sin that one servant had was laziness. Laziness brought leniency. And I assume that when he dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's talent, what was he doing? Other things. He was busy with other things that sound so important. But when you go back and study the word master versus or Lord versus servant, you will understand that the only job of the servant is to serve that master. This is his purpose, not to do other things. Sometimes we get a little deviated. What is the purpose of our life here on earth? We get so distracted, so busy, and one sin leads to the other. And the devil never comes to you and tells you, hey, I want you to do this and this and that. No. He just asks for a simple thing, just one little thing at the beginning. And then that one sin bring another and another and another. Laziness from that servant brought leniency. Leniency brought a dull heart. A dull heart made him blind. He accused his master. He accused his master of being hard-hearted Lord. A hard-hearted person. قاسي القلب. قال كده على الماستر بتاعه أو على سيده. قال له أنت قاسي القلب، علمت أنك قاسي القلب. You reap from where you didn't plant. تحصد من حيث لم تزرع. But if we continue reading the parable, we will understand that what he's saying was not the truth. His master gave each one a talent, right? And then the one that got 5, he traded, he won 5, and he gave his master 10 talents. There you go, I traded with your own talents. There you go, the 5 plus 5. So there you go, the 10 talents. What did his master say at the end of this parable? He says, take from that lazy servant the 1 talent and give it to who? The one with the 10 talents. So that master never took anything for himself. He gave everything to us. He gave the servants the talents and never took it back. So whoever traded with the talents, they gained more and they kept everything. If he was a hard-hearted master, زي الراجل ده ما قال له هو فعلا كان قلبه قاسي، كان أخذ كل الtalents, right? But he said, give it to the one with the 10 talents. Lord, there is no servant that has 10 talents. It's all your talents. Yes, but I gave it to him. This is not a hard-hearted master. But because this servant was lazy, lenient, his heart grew cold. His heart become dull, unresponsive. And he just was looking to justify himself in front of his master. Why he did that? We have talents. We all have talents. And I repeat, if you don't know your talent, read Matthew, the book of Matthew, chapter 5. متى 5 العزة على الجبل. اقروها and you will find هتلاقوا التالنت الوزنة بتاعتك اللي انت بتخدم فيها او اللي انت المفروض تخدم فيها فين. This is if you don't know where your talent is. And earlier today also we heard this verse. It says, and because the lawlessness will bound, because lawlessness will bound, the love of many will grow cold. بسبب كثرة الاسم تبرد محبة الكثيرين. But he continues and say, but he who endures to the end will be saved. But he who endures to the end will be saved. ولكن الذي يصبر إلى المنتهى فهذا يخلص. So when is the end? I don't know. Nobody knows. We don't know when the end is. So how long should we endure? How long? Does anybody know? How long? To the end. Thank you. To the end. So I don't know when the end is, and I'm supposed to endure until the end. So what end should I be looking for? My end. Do I know when my end is coming? No, I don't. So how long should I endure? What are you asking me exactly? You're telling me this, who will endure to the end will be saved. When is the end? This is the wrong question. I should never look when the end is. I should only look at the beginning of the verse. This who endures. This who endures to the end. I want to endure this. عايز استحمل. I want to strive for his way. I want to strive for his way so I can reach. Yesterday, there was a simple question to Christ. Dr. Sharif Salama, that was his sermon yesterday. It was beautiful. Christ was asked, are those little or not, or are those few who will be saved? How many people will be saved? Are they few? The question is very simple and straightforward. But Christ answered this. Strive to enter from the narrow gate. اجتهدوا أن تدخلوا من الباب الضيق. That's why I started with was the beginning of this word about all the titles that I gave you. The journey of the Lent. How long we have been enduring. A long time. How long we've been working on ourselves. Some good time. 40, 50 days, right? But hold it there. Because once we enjoy the resurrection of Christ and we come and we enjoy we ask for this. We ask for this in every Pascha. We tell him at the end and the final blessing that Abuna says, we ask him to show us the joy of his resurrection. But this joy of resurrection is just a glimpse of the end. It's not the end. But somehow our mind take this celebration as the end of endurance, and we drop everything we've been working for. It's like someone trying to build a nice building like this, and they almost reached the top, and they decided to celebrate before reaching the top. And then when they were celebrating, they didn't put the two sides on one another, and whoosh, it fell again. And then the next year, what will happen? We will start over. That takes me to the parable of the 10 virgins. They were the same in appearance. They look alike, but they're not the same. 5 of them were wise, 5 of them were foolish. And في الكتاب بتاع بستان الروح للأنبياء وأنس المتنيح بتاع الغربية, he refers to that parable in a very, I don't know how to say it. أنا اتوجعت لما قريت الكلام ده. I felt my heart was aching. I couldn't breathe when I read this. He was simply saying, مش كل اللي في الجحيم أشرار. مش كل اللي في الجحيم Not everyone in Hades are evil people. And he continues, and he says, the 5 foolish virgins were not evil. They were just not ready. They were just too lazy, too lenient. What is this supposed to mean? It is scary when you think about it. That's why Christ asks us to strive all the time for the narrow gate. Strive for the narrow gate. When you're striving, لما بتجاهد, you're preparing yourself. But are you ready? You may be or maybe not. But the fact that we are striving, that نحن بنجاهد, this is enough for our salvation. The 5 virgins were not bad people. They were not bad people. They were just not prepared. They were a little so lenient with many things. It's okay, I can do this and I can do that. They grow some tolerance to sin. Like us sometimes, like us. We grow some tolerance to certain sins and it's okay, we'll live with it. This is dangerous. If we accept any sin, we don't need more than one sin to lose the kingdom of heaven. That's why every day we need to repent about everything, even for the sins that we cannot fight. The fact that you're offering repentance every day, every night, that you are striving to enter from the narrow gate. When it is time to celebrate, please remember this. Ask yourself, am I still striving to enter from the narrow gate? Am I? What do I do? Do I eat till I can't breathe? This is not striving to enter from the narrow gate. Do I drink till I lose my mind? It's too dangerous. Too dangerous what we do sometimes under the name of celebration. May God give us the wisdom of the 5 virgins who were ready and prepared. And when they heard the voice of the bride, they went with him in their places. Remember this. The banquet for the wedding, from the gospel that we read earlier, the first hour, the banquet for the wedding was ready. So our places in heaven are ready for us. But the question is, are we ready to take our places in heaven? This is the question that we need to always ask ourselves every night. Are we preparing ourselves to go to that place? Do we strive? Do we strive? Do we say no to the sin? Do we say no to little things that bothers us and take our peace away from us? Do I know how to answer with wisdom? And if I don't know, do I at least I stop myself from talking back to people? Because our problems start from there. When we talk back and we start to, then, hey, rich environment for the devil to work. But if we know how to hold ourselves and to submit, then yeah, there you go. You have a talent, you have a virtue, and you will gain more. To him is glory forever and ever. Amen.